Aloha, friends and family. I've been in YouTube jail for conspiracy theories and medical misinformation because apparently we're not allowed to have our own opinions about COVID and the scamdemic. So they took down some of my videos, struck the channel with a lightning bolt, and it didn't do anything except strengthen my resolve. But anyway, my dad sent me some of these little books here, and I'm going to start reading some of them. They're really cool. Different gurus, little guru books, kind of. We'll start with this one. This one's called A Divine Life in a Divine Body, Navajata. And the print is really small and the font is a little bit tricky. Hey, Squirrely! Hey, Squirrely! Want some peanuts? Hold on, I forgot to put peanuts out for the squirrelies. I'll be right back. Alright. If we want to succeed, it is very arduous and difficult yoga. We should make the divine body, the divine life, the focal eye of the sparrow. Now about the divine body, we will try to understand what is the concept of the Sri Aurobindo. What is the way to realize it? What are the obstructions we should overcome? And what should be our immediate next step towards its realization? The concept of Sri Aurobindo and the mother is very unique. They have said that we are here not to repeat what others have done. In another context, while narrating the story of Vishwamitru, Sri Aurobindo had said that the great deeds of the past were indeed great, but they would pale before the greater achievements of the future. I would like to draw your attention to two important things from our epics and mythology. One is the example of Hanuman. Hanuman could fly or jump from Ramaswaram to Lanka. He could fly from Ramaswaram to bring back a part of the Himalayas all in a night. Now the question is, are all such feats possible? Can these be performed? After I read Sri Aurobindo and Valmiki, I was convinced that Hanuman could have easily done all that he did. We also have the example, the unique example of goddess Durga, where every god gave her some of his powers. She was the only being who had the concentrated powers of all the gods. Why am I giving you these two examples? Is because the divine body can envisage by Sri Aurobindo and the mother will be able to perform all that Hanuman could perform, all that Urga could do. It is really amazing that when you read Sri Aurobindo's works, it is almost like reading a fairy story. Sri Aurobindo says that we have to realize the divine in all this, in all his attributes. Each god represents one or two attributes of the divine. And Sri Aurobindo wants us to realize the divine, the divine in all his attributes. As we continue to consider the various aspects of the divine body, we shall come to realize how far it can succeed. Sri Aurobindo and the mother have said that the new body will have 4 aspects. First, it will be luminous. I'm talking here of the final stage. The intermediary stages we shall discuss later. There will be no blood, no skin, no bones. The organs will be replaced by what they symbolize in their subtle physical plane. Many of the organs will even disappear because they are not needed, and the various centers will open and become centers of forces. You will not have to speak. Whatever has to get communicated will get communicated through you. It will be a body of light which will not need food and water for its sustenance. Can we imagine a greater research of our time? We are spending billions and billions for research in this disease, research in that disease. But what Sri Aurobindo presents is the aim, A-E-M-E, the culmination, and goes much beyond all the researchers we can ever imagine today. So he says one of the attributes of the new body will be luminosity. Another attribute will be lightness. It will be able to fly. And the mother gave a very interesting anecdote. The mother said that sometimes you dream that your body is flying. You give a jerk from the right shoulder, you fly in the right direction. You give a jerk from the left shoulder to take a turn, and you fly in the left direction. You give a push with your feet, and you go very high. She said that all this will happen with the body. All this which now happens without the physical body. In a divine body, it will happen with the body. The third attribute, they said, will be plasticity. It will not be vulnerable. Even if somebody shoots it, it will not damage the body, because the body will allow the bullet to pass through. So this will be the third attribute. And the fourth attribute of the body will be adaptability. You can put it in a small jar. It will adapt. Or, like Hanuman, it will become 500 feet high. It will adapt itself to any situation, any circumstance. So, adaptability, luminosity, lightness, and plasticity, these are the four attributes of a divine body. Some people ask the mother, "Mother, will this light be seen by a person in the street, or only the great yogis will be able to see it?" The mother said that a person in the street would be able to see this light. Not only this, but more. The mother once stated that this is a body which you can project, say, at 12 places at the same time. You are projected in America doing some work. You are projected on the moon doing some other work. You are projected in India doing some third work. A body which can be projected in a number of places simultaneously. So you can imagine what they mean by a divine body. It is actually a divine body. The bodies of the gods are luminous. So it will be like the gods coming on earth. Sri Aurobindo has even said that Shiva has committed himself that when the supramental transformation comes, he will himself come to the earth. It is extremely interesting that the vision of Sri Aurobindo is the fulfillment of all which we have dreamt through the ages, all which we have dreamt spiritually, and all which we have dreamt materially. Now the substance, the supramental substance, does not exist in the world. It will be a new creation. Once this substance is created, there will be two kinds of beings: the Superman and the supramental being. The Superman would be that being who, out of this physical body, has evolved into the divine body. The supramental being would be that being who has taken the divine body directly, and there is no anomaly. I'm trying to say anomaly, but it says anomaly in it. These two are the final bodies, the culmination, the Superman's body and the supramental body. The supramental beings leading a collective life would form a new community which Sri Aurobindo calls a Gnostic community. So you can imagine a place on earth where people would have bodies of light, bodies which would not need food and water for their sustenance, moving about, projecting themselves in different places, returning whenever necessary, and finally they will not be prone to old age, disease, decay, and death. We will take up the question of death separately. It is for this kind of body that Sri Aurobindo holds out a hope which you can realize. And the mother says that the time is now to realize it. She says that the supramental descent has already come to the level of the subtle physical. But the physical consciousness has to feel it, and the material body has to realize it. After this realization, man will not have to take birth as a child, grow young, become old, and die. He will straightaway take a body, as I said, a supramental body, act in the world for an hour or 2 hours or 2,000 years, and leave the body at will. It will be absolutely a new kind of creation. We are fortunate to have come to that point in evolution, which is aspiring for this new kind of creation. But the mother was asked, well, how long will such a creation take? And she said, 300 years. People were very much surprised. How could we live for 300 years? If we prolong the life with a diseased body, an old body, a decaying body, it will not be very pleasant to live. And the mother gave a very beautiful answer, which I would like to read out to you. When she was told that 300 years was a long period for this, she said, well, there is a change. It is no more the same body. You must know that even before the total change comes, a change will start in the body. Yesterday, Hanuman Verma told you of his experience that while he was coming out of the house, the mother told him to take a candle with him. When people asked him to go, he said no, because the mother told him to light a candle and stand between the boys and the girls. It is very, very true. Those of you who have the slightest contact with the super mind within will feel it in your own vocation. If you do not feel it, there is something wrong with you. Somewhere you have closed the window to the descent, which the mother has brought for the benefit of all of us. She has brought this Ganges of supermind. We stand on its bank without seeing and without drinking its water. That is the situation. So the important thing to know is that once the supermind consciousness touches your body will be able to remain healthy and life can be prolonged. I'm experiencing this personally. I wonder how many of you out there are as well. How can life be prolonged? We will try to see this today when we come to the sadhana aspect. First, let me read out to you the mother's remarks about the 300 years. When our little humanity says 300 years, this is what the mother is saying. With the same body, you say, why? When I am 50, it already begins to decompose. So at 300, it will be a horrible thing. But it is not like that. If it is 300 years with a body that goes on perfecting itself, so you have to go on perfecting yourself. How do we go on perfecting ourselves? That also we shall see when we come to the sadhana aspect. from year to year, perhaps when the 300th year is reached, one will say, oh, I still need 300 or 400 more to be what I want to be, because you want to manifest the divine and all its attributes. Another 300 years does not matter. You must not forget that if you leave the body now, you may come, say, after another 2,000 years, under different circumstances, and you will find it more difficult because you have not progressed enough in this life. The progress in this life, the mother says, will not only help you, but will enable you to realize it now. This is very important. If each year that passes represents a progress, a transformation, one would like to have more and more years in order to be able to transform oneself more and more. So you have to decide whether every year you are progressing, whether every year you are getting transformed. And in order to check every year, you have to check every day. In order to check every day, you have to check every moment. You have to plan your day. Then again, we will try to understand. When something is not exactly as you want it to be, take, for example, simply one of the things I have just described, say plasticity or lightness or elasticity or luminosity, and none of them is exactly as you want it, then you will still need at least 200 years more so that it may be accomplished. But you never think how it is. Is it still going to last 200 years more? On the contrary, you say 200 years more are absolutely necessary so that it may be truly done. And then, when all is done, when all is perfect, and there is no longer any question of years, for you are immortal, so for them it is a question of physical immortality. You must get this clear. Do not try to give a meaning which Sri Aurobindo did not intend to give. It is the highest ideal about which you can tell your children. It is the highest goal which you can put before yourselves. Now there are a few points which we should know before we come to the sadhana aspect. The points to know are that this transformation will come about through a descent from above. It is not by human effort alone. The part of human effort, I would say, is only 1%. The 99% of change is going to come through a descent. How are we going to have a descent? How are we going to put our body into contact with the supramental force? This is one of the important points we must all know. And the second point to know is how to make the cells of our body conscious and yet cohesive. Cohesive around a center. Here I would like to give you a warning. The will, the human will, and the human thought have to be transformed because the will plays a very important part in the supramental life. You will your body to be big, it becomes big. You will your body to be small, it becomes small. You will your body to project in 12 places, and it does so. Now, if your will and thought are not transformed in the very initial stage, there will be difficulties. You know the old story. A man came under a tree, which was a special tree, and which fulfilled all your wishes. He was hungry, and he said, "Oh, I wish there was something to eat." Immediately, very delicious food came before him. So he said, "Oh, I wish there was something to drink." And very nice drinks came before him. Then he said, "Oh, I wish I could have some dance and music." And he had beautiful dance and music. So he said, "What is all this? I hope it is not a play of the devil." And the devil appeared before him. He was afraid and said, "Oh, I hope the devil doesn't swallow me." And the devil swallowed him. So if the will and the thought are not under your control, this kind of life would not be possible. The first thing in this kind of life is to want it solely, to want it only, and to eliminate. The great art of elimination, to remove the things you do not want. It is most important to want it and to eliminate what contradicts, what wastes your time when you move towards this goal. Once this decision is taken, the first step is aspiration. I have a beautiful prayer from the Mother here. It is in French. I will translate it for you in English. Just 3 lines, one of the most beautiful prayers for the transformation of the body. The Mother says, Om, Om, Lord Supreme, take possession of this body. Manifest yourself in it. There could not be a greater prayer where you call upon, you pray, you aspire to the divine to take possession of your body and manifest himself. This is the easiest way. If he could descend and possess your body and manifest, nothing remains to be done. This is a most important prayer which I would ask you to keep in view. And also here he's obviously talking about the integration of spirit and matter. Now to start your sadhana, there are 4 basic requisites. 3 have been given by them to us: the Guru, the Shastra, and the Kale, the time. The Mother has said that this is the time for transformation. This is the hour of God. Those who miss this time, this moment, will miss it for a long time. Those who miss this opportunity will miss it for a long time. The Guru, the person who has already brought the supermind into the body by meditating, on whom we get contact with the supramental consciousness, is already here. The Shastra, the books written by him, like Savitri, the life divine, is also already here. The fourth requisite is utsaha. Do you feel enthusiastic? Do you feel determined to realize the divine? This is the most important aspect of your life. If you decide that you want to realize it, the divine will go in your favor. The whole divine force will come to help you, in spite of all your shortcomings, weaknesses. Once you have taken the decision, Lord, I pray to you for a divine body. It is impossible that with my present caliber, my loose personality, my fragmented personality, I can realize it. Not in one life, not in 300 years, not even in 300 lives. My only hope is you. If you descend, you can take possession of the body. You can take possession, excuse me, you can take possession of the mind and illuminate it. You can take possession of the vital and remove the wrong impulses from it and transform it. This is the only hope of transformation. And he has given a promise through centuries, whether in the GILA or the Bible or through Sri Aurobindo, that whenever people have knocked at his door and asked for the boon, he has never refused it. Relying on this, having faith in it, you have to embark. The first step is to ask him for it. This is the first step, the very first step. But in Sri Aurobindo's integral yoga, the steps are integral, many-sided. First, we will try to consider the psychological perfection needed in Sri Aurobindo's yoga. The psychological perfection starts with your attitude to life, things, events. If your attitude is wrong, your action will be wrong. Your reaction will be wrong. And you must know 90% of your life is all reactions. In this psychological perfection, the one thing which could help you is to receive the divine guidance. We must know that most of our life we are trying to make God listen to us and not trying to listen to his voice. We are praying to him all the time for this and that. We want him to listen to us, and we have no time and no intention to listen to him. And that is the tragedy of our whole human life. You must learn to listen to him. You must try to seek his guidance from within, again and again, with the same attitude. He is everywhere. He is in every cell of my body. He is in my mind. He is in my vital. He is everywhere. And if I invoke his guidance, he will make me ready to receive it. You do not even have to say, oh, I must first prepare. I must first do this. I must first do that. Otherwise, how will I receive the guidance? Sri Aurobindo once asked whether it was necessary to first have a quiet mind before having the descent. Sri Aurobindo replied, "No, to me the quiet mind came after the descent." So, on the one side, you are invoking, and on the other side, you have a faith that the omnipresent, the omniscient, the omnipotent divine, the all compassionate divine will answer your call. If in all sincerity you have called for him, and his help will come to you, thus half the problem is solved. But then there are other aspects of psychological perfection. I will, for today's meeting, go over them briefly. The mother has called a flower psychological perfection, which represents 5 qualities. But a full psychological perfection would require many more qualities. Maybe the subsidiary qualities of those 5 qualities: sincerity, faith, devotion, aspiration, and surrender. The first step the mother has stressed is sincerity. And by sincerity, she means not to allow, not to admit in your consciousness any other influence except the divine influence. It is extremely important. Without this, it is like putting poison. It is like putting a point of contradiction in your own consciousness against the divine presence, which, while you aspire for a divine body, will not permit you to progress further. Sincerity means to make yourself cohesive around the divine presence. Now, sincerity, faith, and all that can be cultivated. If you say, "I am in any case going to die, so why not keep my faith in God, surrender to him, ask for a divine life in a divine body. Then if I have to die, it does not matter. I have put myself in the hands of the greatest guru, the greatest doctor, the supreme divine. And if something goes wrong, it does not matter. I can assure you nothing will go wrong, even if you do not have faith, but can take this bold risk, which is really no risk, because the other life is no solution at all. The present life, which we are leading, is a life of confusion, ignorance, in a word, of stupidity. You cannot imagine this 99% of wasted life in these newspapers, in these parliamentary discussions, in the so-called business. It is all wastage, because we are not ready for a higher life. We succumb to this kind of waste. It has become a habit with us. So all these qualities of faith, aspiration, surrender have to be cultivated. Without surrender, there is no gain. Without surrender, there is no unity with the divine. Without surrender, you cannot listen to him. Without surrender, you cannot follow the path, because The forces of the lower nature are very strong. In this program of yours, you will have to be ruthless. I can make you a small practical suggestion. I tried it myself many years ago and I found it very useful. You make a daily list: sincerity, aspiration, constant remembrance, all the qualities you want to cultivate, working for the divine, taking food without speaking. I will come to every detail, all that you want to do, and every day give yourself marks A, B, C. Whether you were able to achieve every quality, which quality was a C, which was a B, which was an A. I tell you that if you keep a check on yourself, that is a part of your sincerity. It will be a great progress indeed. We now come to the main theme. We now come to the main theme of how to make the body conscious and how to make the body's cells conscious. There are many things to be done. I will first take meditation and mantra japa. Since you accept to make the body's cells conscious, you have a divine body as your goal in life. You must try to do mantra japa with the body. Every cell of the body should be Om, Om. You should feel it all around you, in your bones, in your skin, in your flesh, in your blood. The sound of Om should be around you, or whatever divine name comes to you. Sri Aurobindo, the mother, any other, it does not matter. They all come to the same. And then this kind of awakening of the highest sound in the cells of the body, you will find a great asset in making your body cells conscious. The second thing which I would suggest is meditation on Sri Aurobindo and the Mother in their luminous forms. The same forms, but full of light, no blood, no skin, no bones, throughout your body, in every cell of your body, and all around you. And third, put yourself into them. It is an old traditional Hindu meditation to meditate that the disciple is in the heart of the guru, and the guru is in the heart of the disciple. This double meditation, that you are in the heart of the luminous body of Sri Aurobindo and Sri Aurobindo is in your heart, will give you double protection from eternal forces, protection from internal forces, and being about unity. Further, your meditation has to be dynamic and, if possible, collective. That is why in these centers you sit together. As in a family with friends who have a common ideal and aspire collectively. The mother once spoke of an old Chaldean saying that if 12 people got together and aspired for the divine would manifest himself. Against this background, collective meditation also has its importance. The next aspect of making the body cells conscious is physical education, whether it is asanas, whether it is pranayama, whether it is isometric exercises. The aim of the physical education exercises should be to make the body cells conscious. There are many ways you can begin slowly. We will try to develop them here for your benefit, for the benefit of our members. And during the next conference, when you are here, we hope we will be able to give you we will be able to give you a 10 days practice program for your physical education and physical betterment. It could be anything. You could do Adasananza, trying to reach the Supreme and trying to bring the Supreme consciousness into your body, opening your cells and making yourself receptive. Any asana you do, anything you start, first meditate before starting. Meditate to open your body to the force so that the force can play through you. The force can work through you. I tell you, it works. I know of a young boy who used to play table tennis. He was a very average player. I would say even a poor player. But every time he played, he always won. And whenever he forgot the divine, did not open his body to the divine force, he lost. I know of many instances of physical culturists who have told me this, who have written on it. The other day I was watching a TV program on BBC in London, and I found a program where they had interviewed the best tennis players and the best golf players. Amazingly, all of them said, our best shots are those which we have played without thinking, but by praying to the higher force, not trying to think we should play like this, just putting ourselves at the disposal of the higher force. That is the first principle in yoga. So the important thing is that you must make your own set of exercises and you must make your own program. Before exercise, you must think and pray to Sri Aurobindo or the Great Divine, how even this exercise makes my body conscious. To those of you who dance, I tell you, dance is one of the best means of making your body cells conscious. To those who sing, I tell you, open the cells of your vocal organs so that they may become conscious. Every action of your day, whether you are lifting up a file, whether you are walking on the road, whether you are sitting for food, all actions should be directed towards making the cells of the body conscious. In order to do so, we come to the next point after physical education. I am going through the points very fast. Next time, As I told you, when we draw up the conference program, we want to keep one day, a whole day, for intensive sadhana, where we can take each subject separately, discuss and practice it. Let us sit together, try to meditate together. I will now take up Karma Yoga, the work of every day. You great a person, how are you? I am pleased to meet you. A common greeting. Normally, when you meet a friend, you are pleased, you are happy. These words just come out of your mouth. But that is not yoga. You must hold yourself back for a minute. Put yourself into the divine consciousness and feel when you say, how are you? That it has come from that consciousness. If we are practicing this collectively, we should put two persons together and make one person repeat whatever he wants to say till he can say, yes, I have been able to do it from the highest consciousness. So this kind of concentration, this kind of holding yourself back before speaking, holding yourself back before doing in the early stages is very essential. It is the next stage. It will be spontaneous. It will not be necessary. So for Karma Yoga, the important thing would be that you make your day, you plan your day. The mother has said that the body works very nicely if the day is planned. Time for food, time for exercise, time for rest. If you want to follow the path of yoga, which is a very difficult path, you should be very, very sincere. This is sincerity. Anything which militates against your decision to move forward towards a divine body, you must ruthlessly put out of the way. Now I come to another very important aspect, food. Food is very important. If you can take it in the right spirit, it will help you immensely to make the cells of your body conscious about the right kind of food. The mother has said that you must have a chemical knowledge about the food. Some people get addicted to certain kinds of tastes. Some are fond of sweet food. Some are fond of sour food. I can show you one very simple way out, and that is prayer. If you just offer these habits to the divine, he will take them out of your consciousness. The prayer which the mother has recommended before taking food, I read it to you from the mother, a very beautiful prayer, her own prayer. Oh, my sweet Lord, supreme truth, I aspire that this food which I am assimilating infuses in all the cells of my body your omniscience, your omnipotence. Can you imagine this food the mother is praying, which I am assimilating, infuses in all the cells of my body your omniscience? As the divine is all-knowing, every cell becomes all-knowing, and by his omnipotence, every cell becomes all-powerful. So it is like this. You have to make your body cells conscious about food. I recollect one instance where would like to share with you. Much before I joined the ashram, I told the mother one day, "Mother, I can remember the divine very well during the day, even during the work, but I forget him while taking food." She said, "You must be taking food with a number of people." I said, "Yes, Mother." I understand her hint, and believe me, after I returned to Bombay for 1 year, I took food alone in my room without meeting people, without sitting with anybody, keeping silent. If you really want your body cells to become conscious, at least in the early stages, till you have come to a stage when you can spontaneously see the divine consciousness in everything and all the time, a stage when the normal concentration is no longer necessary because it has become part of your life. Till you arrive at that stage, it will help you immensely if you take all the food you need at a time. Concentrate on the light in the food. Concentrate on the divine presence in the body. Concentrate on the divine presence in the movement of eating. Eat as you are offering the divine presence in the food to the divine presence within. And with this aspiration to the mother that every cell may become conscious, quietly take the food for 1 day. Even 1 day, and see the results. See how the result helps you. From food we now come to speech, because the integral yoga and the integral transformation require an integral effort. It is an effort for 24 hours, not for 23.5 hours. Every time you say a falsehood, every time there is a deformation in what you do or say, you are delinking yourself from the divine. Delinking. Oh, interesting. You are delinking yourself from the divine consciousness. You are moving a step forward towards mortality and not towards immortality. So it should be a very, very strong decision from you. You are not going to speak till the divine wants to speak through your mouth. This is extremely important. If you remain in the divine consciousness, in a silence of unity with the Supreme, you will be surprised how things happen for you by themselves. You do not have to speak. You want to speak to somebody, his phone will come. You want to call somebody, he will come by himself. You have come to a new law of being. You have come to a new law of living. And you can come to this new law of living. Everything changes for you. The normal kind of talk is not necessary, either in a family life or in a collective life. So a very firm decision has to be taken to be utterly truthful, not only from the mental angle, but utterly truthful from the angle of being a vehicle of the divine. Remain absorbed in him, and he will speak through you what he has to say. If he does not want to talk through you, why do you want to chatter? It is not necessary. And do not read unless useless things, if you really want your consciousness to be stuffed. About all kinds of new papers, the mother told me when I joined the ashram more than 30 years ago. I do not read newspapers. I have to know something. If I have to know something, it comes to me. I said to myself, the mother does not want me to read newspapers. This was her way of saying. She would not say, do this and do that. She would simply say, I do not do this. I do not do that. So the important thing to know is, if you really want a transformation, control of speech is indispensable. I would also like to say one or two words about health and illness. People who are already advanced in age, who have already some illness settled in their bodies, may say, oh, how can we change in this life? We are already halfway or quarter of the way to the other side. It is now very difficult. The mother has held out hope for them. About illness, she has said that wherever the illness is localized, there is disharmony. If we can put that part into contact with the divine, the harmony will come. And what is amazing is that it is possible, she says, to establish it in a moment. She does not say in an hour or in days. The harmony that has been disturbed will return, and the illness would immediately go. I will tell you what the mother has said that is the important thing, is that if we have the time, if we had the wisdom, if we knew the art of putting that part in touch with the divine, this would be the result. But we must know how to do this. Another thing which you must know about is Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya. It is extremely important. The mother and Sri Aurobindo have stressed that sexual indulgence is the greatest block to the transformation of the body. It is not a question of legality. Even if you are legally married to a lady you call your wife, or you have a night emission, everything is bad as far as physical transformation of the body is concerned. You must get it clear in your mind. Sri Aurobindo and the mother have written ample things on how to meditate, how to put light on sex organs and sex matters, so that they do not respond to sex thoughts, sex emotions, and sex impulses. Their aim is elimination, not coercion, elimination from your consciousness. Their constant help is available to you, but you must become clear, determined, and strong, sincere in order to achieve this. And lastly, about sadhana, I would like to put before you one more aspect. There are many other smaller things which I will not take up today, and that is occult knowledge. If every center in our being has been developed into a center of its origin, of the force it represents, the mother says the body is full of centers, and every center represents a certain force, then you must know which is the center and what force it represents, because these 7 or 8 centers of the Kundalini are not all. Our body is full of thousands of centers. So occult knowledge is very much a part of Sri Aurobindo's yoga, the knowledge of the inner worlds. It is amply available in Sri Aurobindo's writings. We do not even have to go to other writings, though there are other writings equally powerful. Now we will take up very briefly only 1 or 2 other obstacles which come in our way. One is our thinking about destiny. A horoscope shows that the life of such and such a person is so many years. The mother has said that all this can be changed once you have put yourself under the divine law. Not only sickness, even destiny can be changed, and death. She herself has written a lot. I will not go into details today about how to conquer the fear of death. One of the interesting things she has said is to take your subtle physical, your astral body out of the physical body, act in the world, and return. Thus, you would have already experienced death without actually undergoing physical death. And this will remove the fear of death. So finally, friends, having come to the feet of Sri Aurobindo, having come to this which is the central point of radiation of the integral yoga, it will be most unfortunate if we satisfy ourselves with anything less than a divine life and a divine body. All those who feel they would like to better their lives, who would like to benefit from the contact with Sri Aurobindo and the mother, must focus their thoughts on a divine life in a divine body. And let us all collectively work for a divine life in a divine body for all mankind, because in that consciousness the action is automatic. The first step in a divine life would be that your consciousness will become universal. There are 2 strong points about this sadhana for a divine life in a divine body. First, your consciousness has to be widened. If you cannot widen your consciousness, you cannot progress. And there has to be an urge for self-progress all the time, self-perfection all the time. Against this background, your visit here would be fruitful if you can make a strong determination. With all my shortcomings, O Lord, with all the difficulties of my nature, of collective life, economic life, social life, political life, I offer myself to you, put myself at your disposal, in your hands, for this supreme transformation, a divine life in a divine body. And I can assure you, in proportion to your aspiration and sincerity, the divine will surely respond to you. May Sri Aurobindo's and the Mother's blessings be with you all. And we leave you in the love and the light of the infinite Creator. Until next time, my beautiful friends and family.